you're in.
Hi, this is Tamara from Mindfully Balanced coming at you from Anne's Backyard again. This is video 3 in the backyard series as I've dubbed it. And as you can see, it's a beautiful spring day here. We have some trees starting to get their leaves, some flowers blooming, and it's beautiful outside. So today I'm providing you with a chair yoga class. So there's this I think misconception that chair yoga is for people who can't stand or people who are older or whatever, but really it's beneficial for anyone. And a lot of the things that I'm going to show you through this flow today, you could do for just a few minutes at your desk during the day if you need a little stretch or a little movement. So go ahead and find a nice sturdy chair. Ideally, your feet should be flat on the floor in front of you when you sit in the chair, and an office chair is not always the best option because it might roll away from you in some of the poses, but work with what you have. The other thing you might need is some sort of prop. If your feet don't quite reach the floor, you can always put some books or something underneath to help bring the floor up to your feet a little more. Anne has these lovely garden chairs that are the perfect height for me, which hardly ever happens, so I'm pretty stoked about that here. Me short little self here. So my feet are firmly planted in front of me, and my knees are about in line with my hip joints, about hip width distance apart here. We don't want to pull our legs together. We're not sitting all splayed out yet. We will later. We're just going to go ahead and come here, and we're going to find a nice easy seat, just like we would if we were sitting on the ground. I always like to start practice with a few minutes of grounding breath just to help you get into your mat area, into your practice here, and away from the outside world. So you can go ahead and let your palms rest either face up or face down on your hands, whatever, on your knees, whatever's comfortable. And just begin to straighten your back here. Feel that core still engaged. So maybe the tendency when we're sitting is to kind of let ourselves slump down into slumpasana, as Anne says. But instead we want to make sure that we're staying upright, keeping that core engaged. Almost like we've often said, that string coming up through the head, pulling you upright, letting your spine be long. And just closing over your eyes and taking a few minutes to breathe, letting the air come in through the nose and go out through the nose. Not worrying about lengthening or altering your breath anywhere just yet, just breathing. Maybe pulling the chin back a tiny bit towards the throat, not bending the head, not bringing the chin down, just sliding it back a little bit so your chin is still parallel with the ground here. It's not at an angle. Crown of the head still drawing tall. And then I invite you, if it feels good, to go ahead and begin to count your inhales and your exhales, working to either match them or letting your exhale be one breath just a little longer. Focusing in on that breath, letting go of whatever you had before you started this video, letting go of anything you might need to do when you're done, just letting it go, realizing that you're still going to have thoughts, noticing that you're having those thoughts and letting them move on, reminding yourself that you'll have time to focus on those later. Right now, your only focus should be on your breath. Taking just a few more rounds here, counting that breath, settling in. Maybe also noticing any noises you might hear in your space or through the video. Allowing yourself to be aware of them and then letting them go. Then you can keep the eyes closed or blink them open, whatever's more comfortable for you. We're going to inhale and sweep the arms out and up overhead, letting the palms come towards each other, letting the shoulders rest down. We don't want to reach the shoulders up towards the ears here. We want to let them be heavy. You should feel that lift all up through the side body, through the side ribs, reaching those hands tall. Again, keeping that core engaged, not letting and keeping the feet firmly planted. We're not letting the lower of the half of the body off the hook here. It's not working as hard as when we stand, but it's still working. And we're just reaching here, feeling that length in that spine. Feels lovely after sitting all day at my desk. And then we're going to exhale and let the hands come down, palms face down, pressing the hands down as we go, almost like we're pushing against the air there. And we're going to inhale, flip the palms up, press the air up as our hands come together. Then exhale, press the hands down, taking just a few more breaths with this movement to get a little movement in the shoulders and the arms, flipping the palms up as we reach up, and the palms go down as we go down. Pressing the air away, keeping those fingers active. One more inhale to sweep the arms up, overhead, reaching up top. And then let's exhale the hands down, straight in front of us. Almost like you're holding a beach ball here or some other type of ball. I like beach balls personally because I love the beach. So we're gonna reach around and keep those arms strong here. And then we're gonna slowly begin to peel that right arm back behind us. We're taking a nice gentle twist here, reaching the body around, keeping our hips squared off to the front of the chair. Our gaze can stay out front if that feels good on our neck, or work it around towards the back arm, wherever it feels good on your neck today. Feeling that nice twist working its way. And on our inhale, we're gonna sweep the arm up overhead, back around to the front. Settle in here, let the shoulders be light, falling down the spine. And then inhale and begin to peel it open the other way. Left arm comes back, taking the twist the other direction. Again, your gaze can go wherever it feels good to you. We're going to play with some different variations on twists during this practice so we can feel those twists in different ways in our bodies. It's one of my favorite practices to do. We're going to inhale and sweep the arm up, back around front, holding that beach ball once again. We're going to inhale and sweep the arms up, overhead, and then we're going to walk our feet just a little bit further apart, and we're going to forward fold. Let our palms come through heart center, let ourselves fold over, hands come down to the mat, head hangs heavy, let the head go. I'm looking up so you can hear me. Now, if you need a little bit more releasing here, and this is just not enough for you, you are of course welcome to come up to your feet at any point, bending into the knees still as much as you need, or staying seated on your chair. It's up to you. Letting go here, you can still sway a little, nod the head yes or no. You can clasp opposite elbows, all the things you do when you're standing. We're just happy to be sitting in a chair. And then if you have your elbows clasped, go ahead and put their hands down on the mat. And this is another place where a block or some books or anything would be handy if you need a little help bringing the ground up to your hands. We're going to plant that left hand right under our face. We're going to begin to lift that right hand up just like we did sitting upright a minute ago, taking a twist this direction, but keeping the hand firmly planted down on the ground, feeling the twist just a little different, maybe noticing how this feels different than when you were upright, exploring that connection into our body here, and then exhale that right hand down. Go ahead and come center for a breath, and when you're ready, plant the right hand down. Begin to pull that left hand up just like we did, opposite way. Reaching the head long, keeping that neck nice and long here so we're not pulling our head up here or letting it droop down. We're keeping that long spine here. And then exhaling back to center. One more time. Hello, Mr. Bug or Mrs. Bug. And go ahead and roll yourself back up. Bring those feet back to your center. Settle in here for another breath. Oh, that was nice and lovely, wasn't it? So then we're going to go ahead and do just a little seated down dog, but it's not actually seated. You do have to stand for this. So you can go to wherever you want on your chair that works for you. You can use the back of the chair, you can use the seat of the chair. You're going to bring your feet about hip-width distance apart, lined up with your hips if you're able to, maybe a little wider if you need that stance. The hands come onto the back of the chair, and then you can just walk the feet out until you come to that nice down dog feeling here. And keep some bend in your knees, at least a little, but you can bend a little more. You can bring the hands down to the chair and walk a little further out if you need to get a little more of that V shape if that's what you need. Wherever you're at, just like when you're on down dog on the floor, you want to send those hips up a little ways. They obviously won't feel quite as up as when you're down on the floor, but this is still pretty close to it for me. We want to keep our neck long, our ears are between our arms, the biceps are up close to them, so we don't want our head up here And we don't want our head hanging down here. We want to keep that spine long here. And down dog is about length in the spine. It's a nice hamstring stretch too, but that's just a little side benefit. Poses have multiple uses here. This is really about getting that nice length in the spine so you can kind of pull the hips back, whatever feels good to you. Taking just a few more breaths here in your down dog. And then we'll go ahead and slowly come back up. You can even come into a little kneeling here if you want. Again, not if your chair has wheels. It might just roll on away from you. I tried that earlier. It was not pretty. Just a nice little kneeling plank here to get that nice front of the leg stretch a little more. Feeling that nice length. And then go ahead and come back to your mat or back to your chair seated. And then we're going to move through a few rounds. We're going to move through a few rounds of warrior poses. So go ahead and bring the right foot out to the side and slide that knee onto the edge of the chair if you're able. I said right foot, I did left foot. Whichever, it doesn't matter, we're going to do both sides. Bring the opposite foot out long. So just like your warrior two, when you're standing, you want your back leg foot parallel with the edge of the chair there. The toes of the front foot are pointing away from the chair. And to make it comfortable, you want to make sure that the knee is pretty close to this because that helps keep the chair here from pointing into the back leg and bending that back knee. You can also come forward on the chair a little bit so that you're just resting sort of that back of that front thigh on it. That's acceptable as well. Finding whatever works for you here. Whenever you're ready, you can let the arms come long. Nice warrior two pose here. Gaze is out over that front hand. And again, we're still making sure that core is engaged. We're still keeping that upper body nice and tall here. We're not letting it all slump down. Just because we're sitting in a chair doesn't mean we let go of all of that alignment in our body. We reach long, and then we can take an inhale and flip that front palm, reversing our warrior. The right arm goes down along the back leg, left arm goes high, or whichever way you're going here. Keeping that core up, reaching that left hand up, that right hand down. Keeping those feet firmly planted. So again, if you can't plant that front foot onto the ground, bring some books or something there to bring your ground up to your foot. And then exhale, bring that left elbow to the left knee, right hand reaches up, side angle. You can drop down if that's comfortable, or even on the outside of the leg, or you can just let the elbow reach. The tendency here is to start reaching down towards the ground, and we don't want to do that. We're still working our obliques just a little more gently than normal. Feeling it. And inhaling our way back up into our warrior two for a breath. We're going to go ahead and slowly bring our knees together and work our way to the other side. So we're going to slide that right knee up against the edge of the chair and come into our warrior two on the other side. So planting that back foot down. Again, you want it to be pretty close to parallel with the short end or with the side of the chair here. Toes pointing forward here, foot firmly planted. And these are awesome too because my feet did not reach the floor earlier and I had to get all kinds of stuff to bring it up. But you know, we make do. We figure out how to make that work if we really care about it. Go ahead and keep that the core pulling up. Sorry, bird distracted me. Go ahead and reach long. Feeling that nice stretch along here and along the inner thigh here, but also feeling the legs are still strong. Just because the chair is supporting you doesn't mean the legs aren't working. You can still feel it. Might not burn as much as the up as a standing one, but it's still there. Go ahead and flip that front palm, reach it forward just a bit. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Right arm goes up, left arm goes back. And just like standing, your gaze can go up or down, wherever it feels good. Hoping you're kind of seeing how you could even do these at your desk a little bit if you need a little stretch, a little movement. You don't have to do the whole flow, just a few poses. Go ahead and exhale that right elbow down to the right knee, left arm reaches. You can drop the hand or let it rest. Another variation you're welcome to try at some point if you want is to slide that bottom hand out, like you're gonna hold a platter out there. That really makes those obliques come online. There's no leaning there. They've got to stay on. And then coming back up into your warrior two again, going ahead and coming back with the legs in front. Ooh, giving the hips a little shake if you need to there. Just a few more poses here. So to help get a little core work in, we're gonna go through a little seated eagle pose. So traditional eagle, you cross your legs, you cross your arms, and just like standing, we can do one, both, or none, whatever is up to you. There's lots of variations. We can make this work for us. So for the legs portion of this, we're gonna cross our right knee over our left knee, and we're gonna squeeze our knees in as close as we can. If you have short legs, chunky thighs, all that kind of stuff, you may not get your foot back down to your calf, and that's fine. If you are super flexible, loose hips, long legs, maybe you can wrap the toe around the calf. Whatever works for you. As you can see, my toe's nowhere near my calf. Our arms are gonna come up into a goal post, and there are layers here as well. So you can wrap the right arm on top of the left arm and give yourself a hug, squeezing around, noticing that I'm not putting my hands on top of my shoulders, but around the side, a true hug. We're not choking ourselves here. Working them around, walking the fingers around will feel lovely and help open those shoulders up. If this isn't enough and you need a little bit more, from our goal post arms, you can slide the right elbow under the left elbow and take your eagle arms. In our eagle arms, we lift our elbows up, push our hands away from our face. Just that tiny little lift and push, you will feel all across the back of those shoulders. Keep those legs active here, squeezing them together. And then just a little bit more if you want. You can even begin to do a little sleeping eagle, rolling through the spine, bringing the elbows down towards the knees, and then slowly rolling up. Way less challenging than when you're standing, but challenging still. Going ahead, taking just a few more breaths here. And then when we're ready, we'll release, fly our arms out, kick our legs a little, release that down, and let's move to the other side. So again, we're gonna cross the left knee this time over the right, squeezing it in, and this is my really tight hip, so you can see I can't even get my knees down when I'm sitting. And again, if this is too much, you are welcome to keep both feet flat on the floor. You'll still get all the benefits of the arm opening here. Goal post the arms, and this time you either hug yourself left arm on top, right arm on bottom, or you send left elbow under, right elbow on top, and take your eagle arms the opposite way. Whatever variation you choose, again, if you're coming into the eagle arms, you go ahead and lift those elbows away, pull the hands away from the face. Checking in with our midsection, making sure our core is still on, keeping us upright, that string is still pulling us up, keeping our spine long. And if you took the alternate extra work variation on the other side, we'll go ahead and curl through the spine, bringing the elbows down. This is a nice opening to that upper back there, and then coming back up, holding it just another breath or two here. Inhale and release everything, give it a shake. Ooh, my shoulders needed that. We'll go ahead and plant our feet. I'm kind of on the edge of my seat here for this one instead of sitting back. It's entirely up to you what's more comfortable for you. But we're just going to do a nice gentle hip opener, and this is one I strongly suggest you do throughout the day in your office. So we're going to do seated pigeon. We're going to go ahead and bring that right foot, bring the right ankle right over the left knee. And we want to work to keep the right knee as close in line to that right ankle as we can here. We're not as worried about keeping the thigh as a right angle or whatever as much as we want ankle and knee alignment here. And we sit up tall, and we can press ever so gently on that right knee down just a bit, and maybe that's enough. Probably need to hold on to that left or that right ankle with the left hand just to keep it, because your foot might have a tendency to want to slide off depending on what your clothing situation is like there. Keep that left foot firmly planted, your spine is tall, and then if you want more sensation into the hip, you can just begin to hinge forward a bit. And it doesn't look like much, but you're gonna feel it very quickly in that thigh, that right thigh area there, feeling those hip flexors, all those muscles getting a nice little stretch. This is an awesome one you can do at your office anytime. Even in a meeting, you might look a little strange, but you could sneak your way into it probably. Some of those meetings can get quite long, and now that we're all on Zoom, you really could do this in a meeting, no one would know. Just look like you're a little closer to the screen. Go ahead and come up, give that leg a little shake, release it out. Set that right foot down, bring the left ankle over the right knee. Same thing here, we want to work to keep that ankle in line with the knee here as much as we can. So I guess technically it's always in line, even if you pulled it up here, but we want it to be more of an angle, like a straight line here, in line with the chair. Just trying to think how to explain that. Keep that left foot flexed to keep that knee protected. Again, you can press the knee just a bit here. Your hips are heavy on that chair, your spine is long, and if you want more, you can begin to hinge forward, feeling that nice movement here. I definitely need to set timers or something to do this throughout the day. It feels really good, and I can feel my hips need it badly in this time. And then go ahead and come back upright. Set that foot down, give it a shake. We're gonna end one more pose here on each side. So go ahead and turn around sideways in your chair if you're able. If it has arms, obviously you wouldn't be able to turn sideways, and we'll do it a different way. Plant both feet down. We're just gonna do a nice gentle twist to close out, to explore that twist just one other way here. So we're gonna inhale our arms up, and then we're gonna exhale and begin to twist towards the back of the chair. Our hands come down on the chair to help provide that twisty motion. Now, just like when we're seated or standing and twisting, we're not trying to torque our body around here and contort it around into various ways. We want to keep our spine long. We want to twist from the low belly all the way up, from the low spine all the way up. And we're just gently using the back of that chair to help give us a little bit of traction to push. Not a lot here, just a gentle one. If you can move that gaze out over that back shoulder, feel free to do so. Before I turn around to the other side, go ahead and turn in the other direction whenever you're ready. We'll sweep the arms up again, and we'll go ahead and twist out the other way. Again, the hands come back. Gaze goes out over that back shoulder. These are high quality, high cost productions here, folks. This is called making do with what you've got. Whenever you're ready, go ahead and come back around. Keep those feet planted down. If only we could control all the variables in our life, right? Like we could just make everybody be quiet and stop for us. Unfortunately, that's not how it happens. And so the best thing we can do is accept that they're happening and figure out how to move on with them. It's a good little yoga lesson there. Gotta get that real life world yoga talk in, right? Go ahead and keep those feet firmly planted. And then we're just gonna end with a little seated Shavasana if you're able, and if you're not, that's fine as well. So you can also find other variations that you would love to. You can lay down on the floor, you can put your legs on the chair for legs up the wall. There's all kinds of ways to do Shavasana in a seated situation. But for today's practice, I'm looking at the fact that you might be at your desk doing some of this, and taking Shavasana at work is probably not a great idea. But if you do have the time and you want to, you can do that seated as well. Come comfortably into the chair. You can let your back rest lightly, but again, we don't want to slump ourselves down. We want to keep our back upright. Palms can rest on the thighs. Again, palms down or up, whatever your preference is here. Generally, we tell you if you have your palms up, you're gathering some energy. If you're feeling a little drained, your palms are down, you're grounding just a little bit, helping you unscatter if you're feeling a little unfocused. Feet are firmly planted on the ground. Eyes close over. Just take a few breaths and chill here, settling in. And again, you can stay here as long as you want, or as little as you want. And I'll leave you with that. I'll let you choose your own Shavasana here. But I thank you for joining me for this little practice again, in this chair practice. Hopefully this allowed you to find some new ways to use your yoga that you weren't aware of before. And maybe this allows some people to practice that maybe can't get down on the floor or do all the standing poses. I do look forward to providing you more videos as we go along. And as we always end our classes, namaste.